Life sucks and I never try suicide. Mine's fucked even more than I realise. Time's up, keep moving when she arrives. If you've ever heard what I heard in my mind, never try, you'll try, that's a lie, you will die. I don't wanna ever come down from a high, I'm in the best seat. From time and the next breed, if you come and come at me directly, you don't need no one to defend me. Souls in a place that I can't get to, don't fuck with the deadly. Moon waves in overseas, quick coats in overseas. Fuck those who don't believe, they will never wanna admit I'm the best here for the mere fact that I've got ovaries. It's a woman's world, so to speak. Pussy you sour, never giving credit where it's due, cause you don't like pussy in power. Venom. My, if you ever heard what I heard in the night, what fright must have been a parasite in my past life. I don't wanna ever come down from a height. My soul was headed to the sky, this is human line, but I'm feeling too alive, trying to get me outside. Someone's gotta pay, I ain't talking big amount. Some kind of physical pain, some kind of traumatic shit. Niggas wanna see dead bodies, probably not there running with no automatic clips. With the scatty, do the writing and shit. Niggas pussy licking back of your shit. Oh, you mad? They come at you prick. Make a move, better pattern it quick. I assume you'll be coming for blood. That makes two a boss, that makes two a boss. Venom. 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 Night time today, like we grow trees, save lives and make minds go deep. Oh, keep wanting to get some so chill. Part of the day in the life you won't see. Part of the day in the life you can't be here for. It's a day in the life for OGs. To the wave and the leavers I won't leave. Not a word you will listen while my soul speaks. Down I go. Follow me, follow me, follow me. Actually, don't follow me, nobody bother me. I'm on the solid sick of your policies. They wanna keep me down in the mud. Use me a fucking abolish me. I don't wanna hear no apologies. All running on my own head, can't tell anymore. Psychotic to the death when I dig deep. I can never find that I left. It's a mystery, rage, nothing but rage. Can't figure out if I'm going insane. Ain't no doubt, but we showing no mercy. So think twice if you're gonna get blazed. Nothing ain't nice, right here, no games. I don't wanna door nobody get a flash. True is to stick up, hands in the air, put the money in the bag, all cash, no cash. Venom. 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 Venom.
Why?
Life sucks and I never try suicide. Mine's fucked even more than I realise. Time's up, keep moving when she arrives. If you've ever heard what I heard in my mind, never tried, you'll try, that's a lie, you will die. I don't wanna ever come down from a high, I'm in the best seat. From time and the next breed, if you come and come at me directly, you don't need no one to defend me. Souls in a place that I can't get to, don't fuck with the deadly. Moon waves in overseas, quick coats in overseas. Fuck those who don't believe, they will never wanna admit I'm the best here for the mere fact that I've got ovaries. It's a woman's world, so to speak. Pussy you sour, never giving credit where it's due, cause you don't like pussy in power. Venom. Venom. My, if you ever heard what I heard in the night, what fright must have been a parasite in my past life. I don't wanna ever come down from a height. My soul was headed to the sky, this is human line, but I'm feeling too alive, trying to get me outside. Someone's gotta pay, I ain't talking big amount. Some kind of physical pain, some kind of traumatic shit. Niggas wanna see dead bodies, probably not there running with no automatic clips. With the scatty, do the writing and shit. Niggas pussy licking back of your shit. Oh, you mad? They come at me, you prick. Make a move, better pattern it quick. I assume you'll be coming for blood. That makes two a boss, that makes two a boss. Venom. 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 Night time today, like we grow trees, save lives and make minds go deep. Oh, keep wanting to get some so chill. Part of the day in the life you won't see. Part of the day in the life you can't be here for. It's a day in the life for OGs. To the wave and the leavers I won't leave. Not a word you will listen when my soul speaks. Down I go. Follow me, follow me, follow me. Actually, don't follow me, nobody bother me. I'm on the solid sick of your policies. They wanna keep me down in the mud. Use me a fucking abolish me. I don't wanna hear no apologies. All running on my own head, can't tell anymore. Psychotic to the death when I dig deep. I can never find that I left. It's a mystery, rage, nothing but rage. Can't figure out if I'm going insane. Ain't no doubt, but we showing no mercy. So think twice if you're gonna get blazed. Nothing ain't nice, right here, no games. I don't wanna door nobody get a flash. True is to stick up, hands in the air, put the money in the bag, all cash, no cash. Venom. 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 Venom.
Hey there, my fallen ones. Okay, I think my mic is live. I do not own the rights to that song. That was the artist Little Sims, and the name of that song was Venom. I love that song. Venom by Little Sims. Putting it in the chat. So I just came on this live. Um, this is in New York City. In New York, this is officially today, which is Father's Day, is officially Juneteenth. This is the first time my dad, it's been a year since he passed away, and it's like I'm just feeling a little down because I usually always call him like every Father's Day. I mean, I call him anyway, but you know, Father's Day, I never missed a Father's Day, and it just feels kind of weird. Um, it just feels kind of weird, right? I've been doing it for so long, and now he's just not here anymore. But I came on here because I just had to rant, and it's a last minute thing. I didn't mean to come on here, but I just had to rant about several things, in particularly Juneteenth. I was doing a live. I did a live yesterday. I did a live last night. It was a long, long live, but during that live, one of the viewers, I think it was either Miss Jennings or Miss Healing Arts, one of the viewers had pointed out when we were talking about particularly the black males within the alphabet gang community, and we were talking about black women's uteruses being used as implants into these beings. And I did mention that that has been happening now for over a decade, and it's not just the gay black males, but it's also the gay white males, and it's also the white females that are using or getting implants of black women who who has had hysterectomies. And it's just so funny. Well, it's not funny because just this morning, Yahoo or the New York Times did an article on uterine cancer is on the rise, especially among black women. So that's one of the things that I wanted to discuss about, because I keep reiterating over and over that this whole war is a war against the mother of humanity. It's really not about the black man. That's why they can put, you know, American descendants of slavery holiday Juneteenth during Father's Day. You know, um, Traditionally the communities were ran by women, and protected by the men. Okay, so that's another thing. And another thing that I wanted to speaking of ADOS, I remember listening to Yvette Carnell's last live, and how she keeps reiterating over and over again that people from the, well, she doesn't call them that, but I do. The FBA, the fuck boy aliens, fuck boy aliens, and the B1 people, the bitches first people. That's how I identify them as. But these people that go around saying that the FBA or that they're B1, which to me is bitches first, and fuck boy aliens. So that's how I identify them. But I remember she reiterates over and over again that people like to put those those Negroes over there, like to when they come on social media, that they like to put their, they like to put ADOS in their mouth too, when they're not ADOS. They're not ADOS. They're fuck boy aliens and bitches first. That's what they are. And I've noticed that a lot of those Negroes over there would come into women's spaces, whether it's uh, mostly because I don't really listen to the so-called Black women excellence channels, because those women are they're very classist. I'll just say it like that. They're very classist. They're not really out to help, like, Black women strive for excellence. They're very much about their own selves, and they're very classist. They're very, very classist. So I don't even watch them, or I really don't even listen to anything that they have to say, you know. And well, so I don't know if these men be, or these Black males be in those spaces, but I do know that they'll be in, like, so-called divestment spaces, or I think it's divestment spaces, and and fence sitting spaces, fence sitting spaces and divestment spaces. They'll be in these spaces, and they'll always, want to um identify as ADOS, FBA, and B1. But they'll always bring ADOS in the arena. And I just want to say that for anybody or any Black male that go into these spaces, I'm just speaking to the women that run those spaces, that those people are not ADOS, because there will not be any Black men who identify as ADOS that will um troll these Black women's spaces, because they just want to troll. There is no ADOS man that will do that. Any real ADOS man is busy trolling his politicians in his local area where he lives. That's who he's trolling. He's not trolling Black women in their spaces on social media. They're not doing that. Any real ADOS person who is a man is not going to be trolling. I just wanted to put that out there. I just wanted to I just wanted to put that out there, that any man who is in ADOS or identifies himself as an ADOS and is representative of Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore ADOS Foundation will not be in any Black women's spaces trolling. If anything, they will be trolling the politicians where they live. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I do get sick of hearing these people call and talk about they want to put ADOS in their mouth. And like, if that, or like, if Negroes don't already look silly and stupid, it's like they do that on purpose to make sure that the world knows that, American Negroes are just dumb. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to put that out there, because men who identify themselves truly as ADOS and a part of Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore's foundation will not be trolling women. Okay? They will not be trolling women. They will be trolling the politicians in their neck of the woods. That's who they will be trolling. They don't have time to troll Black women in their spaces and gossip with them and listen to whatever it is that they have to say. They don't have the time for that. So I just wanted to put that on record. I wanted to put that on record, especially anybody who's coming out there and putting FBA, B1, and ADOS all in the same breath in their mouth. Like they really need to keep ADOS out their mouths, out their filthy mouths at that. But that's one thing that I wanted to put that on record. But another thing with this Juneteenth holiday now replacing Father's Day in the so-called Black community, um it's just sad. It's just really sad, and it just says a lot. It's I'm in New York, and it's an official holiday um in New York on June 19th, right? That's like the regular calendar day, June 19th. And then tomorrow on Monday, it's a public holiday. Now, I know that there are a few states that made Juneteenth a public holiday. So tomorrow, including in New York, people who work for the city, work for the state, because it's legally a federal holiday. So federal employees will get tomorrow off. There's no mail running. There's no mail. You won't get mail delivered tomorrow. A lot of banks are going to be closed, depending on where you bank at. Schools are going to be closed. Depending on where you live, and if you're in a state like New York and New Jersey that made it a public holiday. But for federal employees, it's already a federal holiday. They don't have to work tomorrow, and they get paid tomorrow without having to go to work. I know in New York and in New Jersey, because that's part of the tri-state area. The tri-state area is New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. And usually when one state does something, the other state falls in unison with it. So I'm not sure about Connecticut, but I'm pretty much guessing if it's a state holiday in New York and New Jersey, and state and city employees get paid tomorrow. Both my sons are off tomorrow. They don't have to work. That they get paid tomorrow is a public holiday. It's officially a public holiday. Tomorrow, nothing is going to be open except for the grocery store. You could still shop. So I just wanted to look at how Juneteenth is not only replacing Father's Day in the Black so-called Black community. Look, I like I said, I feel kind of like weird because this is the first time in my life ever that my dad is not here for me to wish him a happy Father's Day. you know yeah, I would say that I was probably a daddy girl because I was the only girl out of like 5 boys, you know. So yeah. And yeah, it's just I just miss my dad so much. But this holiday that's replacing Father's Day in the Black community, it's so sad. It's so sad that, and also it's been commercialized, right? I looked on the internet today, and I was just doing research. Come to find out, a lot of other states that don't already make it a public holiday, they're going in their courts to do that, right? And then it's like been commercialized. You have Mattel. I don't know if anybody who's probably as old as I am remember the Barbie dolls and Barbie and Ken and Skippy, I think her name was, or Skipper was the only black doll in the bunch, and the Barbie dream house and the Barbie dream car. Well, Mattel make those products. It's a toy company called Mattel. They've been out, like, I think Barbie been around since like the 50s. Um so today they announced a signature black Barbie doll, right? And then there was some other things. They announced a signature black Barbie doll that gay black male on CNN is doing some type of celebration with some old elderly lady called Opal and another one, Shaka Khan. I know probably a lot of you know who Shaka Khan is. And I'm just saying that it's just so sad. Like, because, at the same time, it's like reparations should have should have been given instead of a holiday, because as far as I know, people in Texas, where this holiday began at in 1865, people in Texas have been celebrating this every year since 1865. They didn't need anybody to tell them that they could officially do it. American descendants of slavery was already doing that, in the state of Texas. And I'm like, what about reparations? Like, American Negroes should get reparations. It's like I said in my live last night, America paid reparations to the Jews because Spain kicked them out in 1492, and then in 1980 or 1979, Spain took back that action and said, okay, we was wrong, but look how many years that had to happen. And they got reparations, and America didn't even do anything except the Jews they were all a part of the slavery, the slave trade also. They had slaves, they traded slaves, everybody was involved in this. Everybody was involved in this. And for them to give a holiday or make it an official holiday, especially a holiday with people who have federal jobs and state jobs can get a day off and get paid, I don't think that's right, especially when, you know, a lot of ADOS are not even in these jobs. They're not even in these jobs. I remember when Trump was in office, and they had, how they always do, Congress always, like, holding back the money. I forgot what they call it. They actually got a technical term for it, but they froze everything. Congress didn't go to work, and everybody was concerned about, nobody's gonna get any money, nobody's gonna get their checks, whatever. And I remember in the black dudes manosphere, I remember they were like, "Oh, that's good. All of these bitches gonna lose their Section 8. They gonna lose their Section 8. They gonna be thrown out in the street." And then I remember Antonio Moore did a video um before that, and then again during that time, and he was advocating, as part of the reparations agenda, he was advocating that American descendants of slavery be guaranteed government jobs, like guaranteed that, like a certain amount of jobs set aside for American descendants of slaves, that they are to be guaranteed that as a part of a reparations package, right? Because it's not just about money. People are just it's not just about money. It's not just about money, because the Jews didn't just get a check. They got a whole lot of legislation to make them a protective class. You can't even say you can't even say the word Jew without, getting your whole account closed, getting sued, being called you're a defamation person, and all this. You can't even say the word. You can't even say that. They're a protective class. They got legislation for business, real estate, all of that. And people in the manosphere, in the black manosphere, were laughing at Antonio Moore, talking about, oh, we don't need no government assistance. What do you mean government assistance? It's a job where you can work and have a paycheck and provide for your family. Both my sons work for the government. As a matter of fact, my oldest son is about to take another civil service exam so he can get a promotion. And that was the first thing when he got out of college. I mean, when he got out of high school, and he didn't do a year break. He went like straight to college from high school. He went straight to college. He did that year and a half, and then he went to work for the state. That's what he did. He went to work for the state. He was there, then he went back to school. And now he's about to take another civil service exam so he can for promotion. And what I'm saying is that, you know, he's young doing this. You know what I'm saying? He's young doing this. And him having that government job is security. If it isn't anything else, it's security. You understand what I'm saying? And these people, these black males in the manosphere were like, you know, talking down to Antonio Moore, who's an attorney, by the way, talking down, talking about, oh, we don't need no government assistance. Well, what are they doing now except for trying to make a fast buck on social media? My son doesn't have to do that. He has a government job and he got a little side hustle where, you know, he makes music and he publishes his own music. You know, that's his little hot side hustle. That's what he likes to do. And my youngest son, he got a government job, and his side hustle, he teaches the youth. Like I said already, he makes $90 an hour in his side hustle, teaching the youth how to program computers, build computers, program robots and all of that, because he's been doing that since he was like 5. And he's the youngest one. He ain't even 22 yet. This is what I'm saying. So what was wrong with that? And I'm saying to say that now, because this was like when Trump was in office. I remember that big hoopla, Tariq Nasheed, the fuck boy aliens and the bitches first, the B1 people, the FBA people, they were the one. He was like spearheading that fucking nonsense. He was spearheading old ass dude. Like, I'm telling you, my sons can raise these old ass washed up dudes on fucking social media, you know, begging for money, cyber begging, cyber panhandling. Ain't got nothing else better to do. Cyber panhandling. This happened like around 2000, maybe 16, 17. It was, I remember, because Trump had just got in office. And I'm saying that to say that now we got this Juneteenth holiday. American Negro is the bottom caste of America. They the bottom caste. All the foreigners come here, like I said, and stand on their backs and shoulders as a footstool, you know, in order to be made whole American, white, and do better. And here we have Juneteenth. There's high gas prices. The food went up. And the only people who was complaining about that, like for real complaining about that, are the American Negro. All of them are getting kicked out of their apartments. They don't have any Section 8 anymore. A lot of them are getting put out. A lot of the Section 8 women are getting put out of their apartments. And all the dudes, you know, who were hobosexuals living with these women, they're, you know, anxious, out in the street now, which is probably why they're going on a rampage, killing these women, killing their babies, killing their mamas, all of this stuff now. You know, like it's critical. It's critical, but y'all got a holiday. Y'all got a holiday and have nowhere to live. When they said it was a housing crisis, they wasn't talking about y'all. They was not talking about the American Negro. They were talking about These millennial white people who are waiting to get their wealth transferred from their grandparents and who are literally buying houses with cash. Do not take my word for it. Google that shit. Okay? They're buying these houses with cash. They're not taking out no fucking 30-year mortgages. So when they said there was a housing crisis, they were talking about them. It's a housing crisis for them. It's a housing crisis for them because they just trying to buy a house with 80,000, 100, $250,000 cash without a mortgage. And here you got the American Negro talking about, they're not going to take my Section 8 anymore because they done raised the rent. I bet you they don't even vote because people like Tariq Nasheed and told them not to vote. Now they're going to be out in the street. I bet they don't even fucking vote. I bet they don't fucking vote. I bet they don't call a politician. They'll call a news channel and talking about, this is they're putting me out, they're raising the rent. What am I gonna do? Why are you calling the news channel? Who is your local politician? Like, I don't even feel sorry for none of y'all. I really don't. It's just sad. It's just sad. They got this whole hoopla about Juneteenth, and you're being put out in the street. You, your babies, your men are killing you. Your men are killing your babies. Your men are killing your friends and you and themselves. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And nobody votes. Nobody votes. But you want to call a news channel and you want to complain about being put out in the street because you can't afford the the uh the rent increase. You see, when Trump was in office and when they did that, that's what it's called, a government shutdown. When they did that government shutdown, I remember Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell was saying that American descendants of slavery, or the American Negro is how I identify y'all. The American Negro was not going to be able to survive because, for the most part, they don't have $5,000 in the bank for a rainy day. They live in check to check, whether it's a welfare check or whether it's a paycheck. They live in check to check, neck to neck, and check to check. That's how they live in. He said that already during the government shutdown. I believe that was in 2017 when Trump got in office. And I think laid off all of those people of HUD who was pretty much responsible for the Section 8 certificates or vouchers or whatever you call them. They're responsible for your Section 8. You who don't vote, who listen to fuck boy aliens and bitches first telling you not to fucking vote, not to be political. But now your ass is going out in the street with your children. That's if you're not going to, take a dirt nap first. Your baby daddy or some homosexual you had laid up in your Section 8 apartment, murdering you and your babies, and then himself and your friend, for trying to help you escape him. It's just disgusting. It's just so freaking disgusting. So now, when Antonio Moore said that the ADOS don't have money in the bank for a rainy day, he said that in 2017. I think that was a test. I think that because we've been in this pandemic for 2 years. We've been in this pandemic for 2 years. I really think that was a test. Antonio Moore was like, y'all don't got no money. We need reparations. That's what he said. We need reparations. Y'all are not going to make a government. Y'all are not going to be able to live through a government shutdown. We need reparation. We need legislation to help us, to guarantee us jobs, to guarantee us a paycheck for several generations, to guarantee us education. But y'all like, no, 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 no. I think that was a test. Because the thing was, I also remember Antonio Moore saying that ADO West didn't have no money to ride through a government shutdown, but the white millennials do, because they're just waiting on a wealth transfer, you know. And I've worked through the pandemic, and I've worked I've worked through the pandemic. I'm not gonna say what I did. I'm in, you know, I'm an allied health professional, and I work for private practices, and the private practices that I work for are very like upscale, right? Where people have insurance, but they can also pay for their doctor's visit with a credit card, or with cash, or just go to the ATM and pull out the cash, right? If they just didn't happen to have the cash on hand with them. So I worked in an upscale place where I saw that, and I know that I'm not the only one who saw that. I know that I'm not the only one who was working and who work around um a certain type of people that observe that. I know I can't be the only one. And I'm saying that to say that I was working through the pandemic, and I was working through the pandemic because I needed to work through the pandemic, right? If I didn't work, I wouldn't be able to pay my rent. I wouldn't be able to pay my internet bill. Like, that's just real talk. I'm not even gonna front. That's just real talk. I don't have to take care of my sons anymore. They're on their own. They moved out like 2 years ago. They doing their own thing. They paying their own bills and stuff like that. So even though it's a little easier that I don't have to, come up with $800, for groceries, and then the rent money for three people, you know what I'm saying? I still have to maintain, because I'm old. I'm not retirement age. I'm still not retirement age, you know. I can't collect no social security, retirement, or a pension at this age, right? So I still work, and I had to work through the pandemic. But there was certain people, like Antonio Moore said, that didn't have to work. These people quit their jobs here. Like, they was like, screw that, they it's bad enough they didn't even want to wear a mask, right? But they were like, we're not getting any uh you know any needles, right? Like the junkies, they wasn't getting any needles. That they were like, these people quit their job and they got money to ride through that shit. Like, for real, it's been like 2 years now, 2 years and a half almost. And these people can ride through. Like, they are not concerned at all. Okay? I don't hear them or see them complaining about no gas prices. I don't see them complaining about the rising cost of food. I don't hear them complaining about, oh, my rent is about to be increased. Lord, what am I gonna do? The only people I see, I don't even see the immigrants out here. I don't even see the Mexicans, the Asians, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, the Latinos, Hispanics, Caribbean people. I don't even see them. I don't even see the immigrants out here complaining about, how they gonna pay their rent. And oh boy, I tell you, it's only ADOS. It's only ADOS people. It's only the American Negro that's complaining about how they can't pay their rent, how their rent is gonna get raised, and how they can't afford to buy this food. And Antonio Moore already said this back in 2017 during the government shutdown, that the American Negro is broke. Not only is the American Negro, the American descendants of slavery are the bottom caste. They are the footstool for every foot. They are the footstool, the bottom caste to make this country work. And for you to be listening to people like Tariq Nasheed telling you not to vote, telling you not to do this, and you actually listen, and then you paying for his lifestyle while you can't even pay your rent or get gas money or buy food, like that don't even make no sense. And I really don't feel sorry for anybody. I really don't feel sorry for anybody. And I even remember he said, it's gonna come a time where, people are gonna be asking you for, some eggs, some flour, some sugar, a place to stay. Boy, child, I tell you, look, my son's done moved out. I'm so glad to have my own space again. That's I love them. I love them. I'm their mama. You know what I'm saying? I won't let nobody mess with them. I won't, if I can help it, I'll do whatever I can for them. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm so glad to have my own space. I'm so glad to have my own space. They've been around with me for like 20 years. And I'm like, I'm good now. I got my own space, you know. But nobody couldn't ask me. Nope, I'm not putting nobody up. I got extra bedroom because they moved out. Nope, I'm good. I'm not putting nobody up. I don't care. I don't care. Family, friends. Well, I don't really got no friends. My circle is very, very small. I don't really have friends like that. I just got a few from childhood that I've known since well, I've known, since we were in the womb. That's how far we go back. We go back generations. Our parents went to school together. Our grandparents all, were on the block association. They they were all members on the block association. So my circle is very small. Those are like my friends. That's it. Family, I don't. I got family I don't fuck with. So I don't. Friends are not really. I don't really care about no friends. I'm just saying, I got family I don't even fuck with, because people are toxic no matter what, and I don't like that energy in my circle. It doesn't matter. Like, just because you related, it don't make you family. That's how I get down. That's how I get down. If you toxic, all of that, not, nope. I don't do that. I just don't do that. And I don't want nobody in my space. Like I said, my sons moved out. I don't want nobody in my space. I was only responsible. I was only responsible for them. I'm only responsible for those who truly love me. You know what I'm saying? I'm only responsible for those who truly love me. That's it. And they moved out. And Antonio Moore said it was going to come a time where people were going to start asking you, your family members, your friends, for a place to stay, for some eggs, flour, and sugar and shit like that. And I've noticed that that's been happening a lot. Not only are these Section 8 women being put out of their apartments because they can't afford the rise in rent, and their homosexual males are killing them, killing the babies, killing themselves, you know. It's just a mess. It's just really a mess. And it's so sad that this is Juneteenth and the American Negro is getting put out of their homes because they can't afford the rent, they can't afford no gas, they can't afford no food, and they the only ones complaining about it. Nobody else is complaining about this. Go on social media. Don't take my word for it. Go on social media and see who the hell is complaining or making jokes, because Negroes, they like to be entertained, right? So some of them are not really going to come out and complain. They're just going to joke about it, but trust, they hurting, and sometimes that's all they can do is just joke about it and entertain others with that joke, about how they can't afford no gas or how they can't eat. You know what I'm saying? But he said that it was gonna happen. And it's been 2 years. They stopped giving out those, what was those check, the coronavirus checks? I probably can't say that word either. But they was giving out them checks. They stopped giving out them checks. As a matter of fact, I remember women were getting killed for those checks. They were getting murdered for that, by these Negro males, these G Floyds. They were getting murked for they little bit of, for a little bit of money, like pocket change, like Antonio Moore said, $5,000 they don't even have in the bank. So they was killing these mothers for like $2,000, $3,000. I don't mean to laugh, but that's like pocket change. Oh my God, boy, I tell you. Boy, I tell you, it's just sad that you got this Juneteenth holiday instead of reparations, and you hurt it real bad, and they commercializing the same government that you don't want to go and vote for, right? Because somebody told you not to vote. The same freaking government now, you know, is commercializing this shit while you hurting. While you hurting, like you are hurting for real, but you're not gonna say anything about it. Either you want here all day begging for money, cyber panhandling, or it's just it's just sad. Like it's just sad. It's just really sad. Like you can't get a job, you can't work. Why you can't get a job? Why you can't work? Oh, because you don't vote. Oh, you take a Section 8 certificate, which is government assistance, and then you let your homosexual move in with you, but you won't go and vote. When Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore told y'all to go and vote down ballot and write in ADOS. You couldn't even do that. You couldn't even do that. And now you want to go on the news and complain to the news people that people are raising the rents to get you out. Yeah, I would do the same thing too. I would do the same thing, to be totally honest with you. I would do the same thing. You go into the news, you didn't go to your local politician. Y'all didn't get together and go to your local city councilman, to your local assemblyman, or whatever y'all got in whatever state y'all at with y'all Section 8. Y'all couldn't do that. You had to go to the news people, like for real. Like that don't even make any sense. Like this is a pandemic. And then you got people, I just saw on the news today. There's this one lady who bought a house in Chicago. Black people in there squatting. Black people in there squatting with children. Well, I ain't gonna call them children because these people, they have kids, and kids by tradition are sacrificial beings, you know. Kids are baby goats. And like I said, like we sacrifice goats over here. We eat and we sacrifice goats over here, you know. That's my immigrant side. Okay. That's my immigrant side. We eat goats and we sacrifice them. And like I said before, I prefer mine's curry. I prefer my goat curry. Okay. So this lady in Chicago is squatting with a kid, is squatting in this woman's house. This woman just bought this house and she can't get in her house because this lady is squatting. Then you got another woman, young woman, and she's black. I don't remember where she was. Um, I don't know, Atlanta, somewhere. I don't know. She's black. She bought a house, and in order to help her pay for her mortgage for her house, she thought it would be a good idea to Airbnb it. In a pandemic, like, are you serious? She thought it would be a good idea to Airbnb it. First of all, the lady who bought the house in Chicago, she was non-black. She seemed to me to be a white American. And she got the black lady with her kid squatting in her house. The second house with the Airbnb, the black girl bought this house and she thought it'd be a good idea to rent it out in Airbnb so she can help pay her mortgage. You see what I'm saying? The white lady didn't have a mortgage. She bought the house. She bought that house. Somebody just went in and squatted. The black girl, she had a mortgage. You see, it's like I said before, the housing crisis, right? She Airbnb this to another black girl. Why she would have done that, I don't know. I would never buy property here unless I was given reparations. I would never buy property in this country. I would never do it as a black person, period, as a so-called black person, as an ADOS person. I would never do it because I would not have the protections that everybody else have. I wouldn't have those same protections. I would never do it. She bought the house, rented it out to another black person. And if I did buy a house, I'm gonna tell you right now, I wouldn't rent to no I wouldn't rent to no American Negro. I wouldn't rent to no. That's how I was able to move. Because I'm not. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I'm half and half, right? I'm like, mixed ethnicity, right? But my first immigrant, my immigrant, me being first generation immigrant on my dad's side, I was able to use my immigrant privilege card. And I was able to say, I'm not like them Negroes over there. You can rent me this apartment. Ain't got to worry about nothing. Right? Because everybody know immigrants pay their rent. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that immigrants pay their rent. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that ain't no immigrants going to be squatting no fucking wheel. But anyway, I wouldn't even rent it, but she did. She rented it to another ADOS girl, and now the girl refuses to get out her house. And the girl went to police and everything, and she can't do anything about it. She got to take it to court, and all over the country, all the evictions are backed up. So you can be in court for months and years because of the pandemic. Because of the pandemic. Everything is backed up. And at this point, you better have a laptop or a telephone or something, because I don't even think you can actually go inside court right now. They're doing everything online and over the phone. Everything is being done online and over the phone. So It's just sad, and the girl can't even. She It's just sad. It's the girl. sh Anyway, she can't get her house back, but it's like Antonio Moore said. Um, American descendants of slavery don't have any money. They the bottom caste. And now this girl got to suffer, and she still got to struggle to pay her mortgage with this girl in the house who's squatting and refuses to leave her house. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. But everybody else is doing okay. Everybody else is doing okay. It's like I said, it's only ADOS people complaining about they can't pay their rent, or they can't afford the increase in their rent, or they can't afford no gas, and the food prices going up. Well, you know what? America is the most obese country in the world, so I'm pretty sure it won't hurt anybody if they miss a meal or two or three or four. I'm pretty sure you won't die, because if you know anything about biology, your all the fat that you have in your body, the deposits of fat, when you get hungry, your cells. Remember, I was talking about biology in the last live last night, but your cells will start to eat that fat. It will go to the storage where it stored the fat at, and it'll have something to eat. So, being that this is the most obese country in the entire world, on the entire planet, I'm pretty sure that missing a meal or two will not kill you. It will not kill you to miss a meal or two, fast at least one day a week. You could fast. You don't got to eat 3 times a day. You just need to eat 1 time a day, and you could fast 1 or 2 days a week. I'm sure it won't kill you. You'll survive. Just have water to drink. Boy, I tell you. But yeah, like, I go on social media and all I see are ADOS complaining. All I see are them complaining. And then they have this damn Juneteenth holiday when Negroes can't can't put out their damn apartments because they can't afford the rent, the increase in rent. And Section 8 only pays a certain amount of money. But see, if you would have took your ass to vote instead of listening to people like Tariq Nasheed and all the homosexuals in the manosphere, maybe you wouldn't have they wouldn't have increased your rent. Or HUD, which is a government agency, would have been able to help you with increasing the amount of your voucher. That's only if you vote, though. But since you don't vote, it's apparent you don't vote, because instead of going to your local politician, you ran to the news channel talking about, oh, we can't afford this. You going to the news, and this is happening all over the country. Why you don't vote? Why you going to the news channel? Because I really don't feel sorry for you. I really don't. So sad. You have Yeah, I'm back. I just had to I don't know if you're still there, but I just had to come on here and vent. Strong and humble and here to learn. I had a Sticks from Happy Days. Is that the one with the hair, the greasy hair? Oh my goodness. I do remember Happy Days, but uh the most I remember is the Fonz, I used to have such a bad crush on that dude. Talking about, hey. I just thought he was so cool, you know. But that's the most that I remember. Him and the redhead, the ginger boy, Richie, Ron Howard. He's made a lot of movies too. that I've enjoyed. He made some pretty good movies, Ron Howard. He got some good movies out there. Yeah. But yeah, strong and humble. I just had to come on event because this is like Juneteenth, and it's supposed to be a celebration of American Negroes being free from slavery, but they not. I can't really say. It's like it's almost like they are freed from slavery, but it takes me back with my cellular memory to the time where the slaves were just freed on the plantation, and they couldn't leave the plantation still because they had nowhere to go, so they had to become what Yvette Carnell called it, sharecroppers, and they had to still work on the land of their former master, and they was still cheated by being sharecroppers. It's like I was talking about yesterday, the same thing in Europe is when they sent them here, they had them boy, I tell you, yeah, it's like now that American descendants of slaves are just sharecroppers. It's like they are still sharecroppers and living that sharecropper reality, basically, even though they may not be on a farm, like they can't even keep they Section 8. They don't vote. People told them not to vote. People like Tariq Nasheed told them not to vote, and they don't vote. And instead of going to local politicians who they should have voted in or out, or wrote in ADOS on the ballot up and down just to make a statement, they couldn't even do that. And these people keep records. They know who vote and they know who don't vote. They know who are active voters and they know who are not active voters. And I'm just saying, it's just sad. Like you can't why you gotta call the news people? Don't nobody care. Like really, don't nobody care. Like really, don't nobody care. You're gonna be out in the street just trying to squat in somebody's house, basically. Or if you got a car and no gas money, you're gonna be living in your car. I seen some with this woman with her 2 kids living in the damn car. Boy, I tell you, it's a mess. It's just a mess. So yeah, I just wanted to rant about how ironic that is that we got a holiday to celebrate slavery and ADOS, or freedom of slavery, and ADOS is still like they're sharecroppers. They doing really bad. They're doing really, really bad. They're the bottom caste. They don't have no money. They broke. They don't have no money to ride out the pandemic, like Antonio Moore said, or the government shut down. They don't have no money to do anything. And they the only ones complaining about gas money and rent money and food money. They the only ones in this country complaining about that. They're the only ones. They the only ones. Ain't nobody else complaining about that but them. And it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. But I think that government shutdown in 2017 was just a test. It was just a test. But it's gonna get worse. But you know what? I'm okay. I'm not, and nobody can't come and live with me. So, like you better go vote. I think we got an election coming up now. They trying to get me to vote early. I never vote early. I just go primary and general. That's all I do. I go on a due date. But yeah, it's just freaking sad. It's just freaking sad. Juneteenth commercialized, and everybody who working for the government, federal and state government, they getting a paid holiday tomorrow. And most of these people are not ADOS. They're not ADOS. Boy, I tell you, it's just a mess. It's just really a mess. It just really is a mess. Before the great migration of ADOS from the south to the north, before that happened, there were black, so-called black Wall Streets all across this country. It wasn't just in Tulsa. There were black Wall Streets all across this fucking country and damn near every fucking state. Oregon, New York City, upstate New York, um, Florida. It wasn't just in Tulsa. There were black Wall Streets all across the fucking country. And the descendants of slavery, American descendants of slavery, they built those communities. They built those so-called black Wall Streets with their hands. They built everything with their hands, you know. And what happened? White supremacy burnt them down. They, they went into these neighborhoods. You know why? They was able to do that because there was no legislation to protect American descendants of slavery after they've been freed from slavery. There was no legislation to protect them and say, well, you're going to have to pay if you go into these people business and burn it down, or you're going to have to pay an insurance money or a policy. So this way you can't go and burn them down. There was no legislation to protect ADOS. There was no legislation to do that. There was none. So white people, white supremacists were able to go in all of the communities, all of the black Wall Streets across America and burn it down to the ground. A lot of it went underwater too. A lot of the I think somebody, I can't remember this chick name. She's mm, I don't know, I can't remember this chick name. I think she's connected with MTV or something. Anyway, she even did like a small synopsis on that about all of the black towns or communities that went underwater. They were either flooded and made into lakes, and yeah, mostly lakes and shit like that. How they were all flooded out. She even did that too. So there, I can't remember this chick name. Um, I don't really like her though. I think she only did that just to get likes. But yeah, I'm just saying that to say that there were black communities, black Wall Streets, damn near every state in this country, and they were all burnt down to the ground. They were all burnt. Well, the one here in New York City, they made it into Central Park. They didn't actually burn it down. They just threw the ADOS people out, and they made that into Central Park. The one upstate New York, they just made that into like a refugee town for foreigners um from Europe. That's what they did. They made that into a refugee town, but it used to be like a Black Wall Street, upstate New York. But I'm saying that to say that the towns were all burnt down, right? They were all gone. They were all burnt down. Um, and because of this, and these are communities that ADOS built with their own hands, right? Now, once all of their towns were burnt down, they had no other choice but to try to go into other communities to find place to live, right? because like, I think if somebody was to come in my house and just come in without any consequence at all, because these nothing ever happened like to these white supremacists that came and did this. Nothing ever happened. They came, burned down towns, they killed men, women, and children. um After, and sometimes before, they were raped. Okay. And they did this and there was no consequence. There was no, this is why I used to tell, like I said yesterday, when I used to tell my sons, look, you want to be able to just do whatever you want to do, have the liberty, because white people don't have freedom. They have the liberty to do whatever the fuck they want to do, how they want to do it, whenever they want to do it, and to whomever they want to do it, and they don't have to suffer the consequences. Right? They don't really have to suffer the consequences. They may sometimes get a little slap on the wrist, but as far as really the consequences, no, not really. They don't have to suffer those consequences. And I was telling my son, you want to be stupid, you want to be lazy, you don't want to do shit. You want to have the liberty to be stupid, be lazy, don't do shit, do whatever the fuck you want to do, however you want to do it, to whomever you want to do it. Well, you're just gonna have to come back as a white man. That's how you can get away with that. Come back as a white man. But while you in your black skin, there is no excuses. There's no escaping. There's no escaping you having to put in the work. You have to put in the work, and there's no escaping that as long as you're in a black skin. There's no fucking escaping that. You have to put in the work, and you can't be half-assed. I've told them this all a damn life. Now, if you want to live like them, then you're gonna have to reincarnate as a white man. That's what you do. That's what you do next time. You just reincarnate as a white man. But these people have liberty. That's why I was saying yesterday, I don't want freedom. I want liberty. I want liberty. Fuck a freedom. I want liberty, like Godmama Harriet Tubman said she wanted. She didn't say shit about no damn freedom. She said liberty. Okay? But when these people had the liberty to just come into black communities that these ADOS had built with their own hands, and the white supremacists had the liberty to go into those communities and mutilate it to the ground and have no consequences behind it, and doing it over and over, and you see that they're doing this and nobody is doing anything about it. Not even even the government participated in some of these uh in some of these acts. The government even participated in this. Military bombs and shit, flooding flooding communities and shit, you know? They participated in this. The same government that want to give you a Juneteenth holiday to pacify you, or to commercialize it so everybody else can make money from it. It's why you can't fucking pay your rent, and can't get no gas money, and can't buy no fucking groceries. Everybody else is doing all right though on your holiday. But these white supremacists had the liberty to come in these neighborhoods and do this. And because they never suffered any consequences about it, you got to understand, our ancestors back then felt like it was like, no, it was like, it was hopeless. It was hopeless. Why build another town when they can just come in and do whatever they want to do. You got to understand, they felt hopeless. The government didn't do anything about that. So they were forced into other communities that other people used to live in, right? For example, in New York City, all the projects in New York City and all the boroughs were built in the 1940s. When the projects were built, they was not built for ADOS. Okay? ADOS did not live in the projects when they were first built. Okay? In New York City, the people who lived in the projects were mainly uh how you say white Hispanic or white Latino, right? Italians and Jews and Irish. Those are the people who lived in these projects when they were first built. Wasn't no black people here. You understand? Okay? So when ADOS was forced to go into other communities, you know, that's when, around the time of the Great Migration, right? That's when they started coming into the projects up north, because the Great Migration was from the south to the north, like New York, Chicago, New Jersey, up here, up north, right? From the south to the north. That was the Great Migration. I don't know if you know about it. Google it if you don't. Just Google the Great Migration. That was when ADOS came in droves over a decade up here to up north, hoping for a better life, or just hoping to they aspired to a better life, right? They wanted to work, they wanted to feed their family, they thought that they would be able to you know be whole again, right? Because quote unquote all the jobs were up here, there was nothing in the south. Everything was already burnt down, everything was just burnt down, right? you know in certain parts of Georgia, I know for a fact that uh plantations that had the slave quarters, slave houses, I know for a fact that they still exist, and they're being rented out to none other than ADOS. So you even still have ADOS, American descendants of slavery in this country, still living in the slave quarters of 17 and 1865 in 2022. That's happening right now, and I know that for a fact because I know some people that live in them. I know some people that live in them, and that's in the state of Georgia. I'm not going to say where, but it's in the state of Georgia, and I've been there, and it's disgusting. It's it's disgusting. I mean, I know, like, they have no other choice, they have nowhere else to go, but it is disgusting. You can smell the stench of misery. Like, that doesn't wash away. You can smell the stench of misery from 150 years ago. You can't wash that away. But these people are living in slave quarters where the slaves used to live. Yeah, they put a bathroom in it, they put a kitchen or a stove in it, to make it more modern, but oh my God, boy, I tell you, it's slave quarters. It's slave quarters. And it's cheap rent too. Well, the last time I knew, it was cheap rent. You know, so what you, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna say where it is. It's where Ray Charles used to live. What part of Albany, Georgia? Ray Charles was born in Albany, Georgia. That's exactly where them fucking slave quarters are that they still got ADOS living in. And this is Juneteenth, but they gave you a holiday, Juneteenth, to celebrate your freedom from slavery. And you still got the descendants of American slaves living in slave quarters, right? Boy, I tell you, this is the this is so fucking depressing. This is so fucking depressing. But when the Great Migration happened, and all the people from the South, because like they had to probably go and live in slave quarters since all the towns were burnt down. Up here in New York, that I know about, the when they got rid of the Black Wall Street in Manhattan and Central Park, those ADOS people went upstate. They moved further upstate. A lot of them moved further upstate. There was a lot of there was a lot of there was a well, boy, New York has such a rich history. But let me just tell you, there's a lot of blood in the streets of Manhattan, especially lower Manhattan, by Wall Street, by Bowling Green, by the World Trade Center. Well, it used to be the World Trade Center. They blew that up, right? The World Trade Center, um, uh, Manhattan City Hall. It's a lot of blood there. It's a lot of blood there. Lower Manhattan, from the east side to the west side of ADOS, in those streets. Yeah, you can even feel the vibrations. If you ever go over there, you can feel it. It's very strong over there. And it's very strong over there, and it's very strong in central Harlem. But yeah, because there's a lot of blood in over there too from ADOS, right? But the Great Migration, you have to Google search that. But like I said, it's when the ADOS from the south started to migrate up here to the north, and they did that over a decade. Like they didn't just all come in one swoop, right? It was like a gradual thing for like maybe a decade, right? And because they thought, they get a better life, all their towns were everything was burnt down. I told you where the people in New York went, not before there was a whole lot of bloodshed though, but eventually they moved further up, um upstate New York, or to Canada, because we're close to Canada. It's like only like maybe a 6-hour drive. You know what I'm saying? So you can just go right there over the border right there. But when they did this migration, it was, like I said, it was gradual. And I'm just saying, like, you have to understand the state of mind of a people who spent all that time building stuff, and then you got white supremacists coming in and doing whatever they want, and because they had liberty to do whatever they got the liberty to do whatever they want without any consequences. That's like a real mind fuck right there. That's like a real fucking mind fuck right there. And if you think motherfuckers suffer from mental illness now, you should try to put yourself back then, when a motherfucker can just come in your house and do whatever, and not suffer any consequences. And then you might not be able to do anything not because you're scared of what will happen to you, but you're scared about what will happen to the people that you love. You understand what I'm saying? Like, maybe you don't understand what I'm saying. Maybe there is no one that you truly love right now. I don't know. But, you know, back then people used to be more like race people, and they were like family oriented. Maybe people did have some fucked up shit about them, but their families wasn't as dysfunctional as these families are today, you know. And maybe they couldn't do anything because they were scared of the person that they love, like their children, being retaliated against. Maybe they would threaten, you know, the same way they threatened a dude who used to work be in Trump's cabinet. And I think the FBI tried to get this dude, but since he wasn't talking, they went and got his son instead. So then he started singing like a canary, you know, because he didn't want anything that they threatened his son. And apparently he loves his son enough. He loves his son enough to, you know, he didn't want anything happening to, and his son is a whole grown man, not even a child, but a whole fucking grown man. And this dude is white. He wasn't even black. He was white. He was white. He started singing like a canary. I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name, but he was a part of Trump uh, administration. I can't remember his name. FBI. It was a big thing. FBI had SWAT team and all types of shit going after this dude. So you got to take that into consideration too. And then these people had no consequences on what they did. So the Negroes from the South migrated up here. By the time they migrated up here, 1950s, 1960s, the the white people that were in the projects in New York, I'm not sure about Chicago. I don't know, but I know for a fact in New York, the white people in New York, they were they were moved out of the projects because now they were able to integrate and be white. You know, there's a book that Yvette Carnell did in her book club called How the Irish Became White. I'm gonna put that in the chat. How the Irish Became White. Yeah, that was in a book club too. And yeah, that boy, I tell you, when they moved out of the projects, when they moved out of the projects, the Irish, the Italians, and the Jews, they were able to integrate into society and basically become white. Now, remember, I told you before that Jewish people do not consider themselves white. You don't have to take my word for it. Just ask any Jew. Okay? Just ask any Jew. They don't consider themselves white, right? The only time they have considered themselves white in history is when they had to survive, or if it was, you know, beneficial to them. And survival is beneficial for anybody or any living organism that wants to survive, right? So okay, I'm trying to let me see. Well, these people became white. And I'm also going to say the Jewish people also became white, or not even that, but after a while they were even able to they were even able to they were even able to build their own communities the same way that the ADOS built their own Black Wall Streets. The Jews in New York did do that. They built their own uh they built their own Wall Streets, right? Because you got Jewish communities upstate, heavily in Westchester and in Brooklyn, New York, and in New Jersey, and in New Jersey too. They have their own, like, for real. They have their own communities, like it's just Jewish people. No one else lives there but them, right? Whether they're, especially the Orthodox ones, especially the Orthodox, and mainly back in the day, that's who was here in New York. It was a lot of the Orthodox. Um, I'm trying to copy this. Okay, it was a lot of TIEV. Was a lot of Orthodox Jewish people, but they were able to build their own communities. The Irish people and the Italian people were able to integrate. They were made white. They became white. They were able to become American, because I know at one point they wasn't. They was, it was a whole thing. Like if you watch the Kings of New York, it shows some of that too, you know. But they left the projects. They left the projects in New York City, and then ADOS, mainly from the South, came and moved into them. And then that's how, and then they stayed for generations and generations, because it wasn't what they hoped it to be. It was like a trap. It was still hopelessness, you know. Yeah, they were able to get cheap rent, but they still couldn't feed themselves. There was still no work, like they were told it would be. It wasn't any of that here for them. Like they came up here and they struggled. So they didn't build these communities that they're in now. Their communities that they built were burnt down to the ground. They were burnt down to the ground by white supremacists that had the liberty to do whatever they wanted to do to the American Negro, period. And that was in the laws of a lot of states, damn near every one. Damn near everyone. So just keep that in mind. These communities that ADOS is living in now, they did not build them. They are secondhand communities that they were pretty much forced into during the Great Migration, because nobody is trying to rent to, nobody wants an American Negro living as their neighbor next door, across the street, um, in their building. Nobody wants that. No, nobody wants that. Like, I'm not exaggerating that. Nobody wants that. They don't care. They don't want ADOS women, her children, or any ADOS males. They don't want you there. They don't want you there. And they'll raise the rent because they know that you can't pay it, because they know that you are bottom caste in society and that you don't have any money. Period. And these people would rather raise that rent, because I'm telling you, it happens here. It happens here. I see it all the time. You look, there's apartments, there's a lot of apartments out here that are empty. There are a lot of apartments out here where I live in New York City that are empty. Okay? There are a lot that are empty. And, if you if if you inquire about renting it, it will cost you like $4,000. If one of them inquire about renting it, it wouldn't cost them that much. And legally, they can get away with that. Legally, they can get away with that. They can get away with that legally because they're at liberty to do whatever they want. Hold on. I'm sorry, but like I said, they will keep these apartments here empty. Like it doesn't hurt them to do that because they can ride it out until one of their own comes and is ready to rent. And it's not legal for them to do that. It's not legal for them to discriminate on the basis of your so-called race. But see, that's why back in the 90s, I think they made it hard for anybody to sue, because that it's very American to sue. That's a very American thing, right? You can sue for anything. Back then there was a lot of lawsuits based on discrimination based on so-called race, right? But they put a stop to that, and they was like, nah, this is too hard to prove. We'll just say hate crime. You see what I'm saying? So now you can't even really sue a landlord for not renting to you because he discriminated against you because of the color of your skin. You'll have to prove that, and it's very hard to prove something like that, especially when those people work together. You know, like like Dr. Francis Cress Wilson said, they're on code. They have this code that they go by. And I don't know if you've seen The Banker, but you should watch that. If you didn't see it, you should watch The Banker. But they have this code, and something like that's not the same as a hate crime. You see how they flip the script there? Because I remember back in the days, a lot of people were suing based on discrimination based on their race because they were black. They put a stop to that shit. You can't sue anybody anymore because you black. You can't even do it. Like even that young man that worked at Amazon in Staten Island, who Antonio Moore interviewed him. He interviewed him. That young man who during the beginning of the pandemic, he was making a fuss about how his employer was not treating his employees well. Their employees well. They wanted extra pay for a pandemic and showing up to work. They wanted, I think, medical benefits because a lot of people were getting sick and I think even dying, at that warehouse. And even then, when it got caught on tape that the higher ups was saying that he was stupid and ain't nobody gonna listen to him, and like they were clearly discriminating against him based on the fact that he was black. But even still, after all of that, he couldn't sue them based on that. He couldn't sue them based on the grounds of that, you know? So they made that hard. And what I'm saying is, you know, he couldn't even say it's a hate crime. Like what? Like, I mean, it was some racist shit that the higher up said. I think it was like the executives and shit that actually speaks to the lizard dude, Jeff Bezos. You know, that dude is a lizard. I don't care what nobody say. He's a fucking lizard. But even the higher ups that speaks to him specifically got caught on tape speaking to the lizard, telling the lizard that like this nigga ain't nobody gonna listen to him. He real stupid. Don't worry about it. We got this. Like that was clearly fucking some racist shit. Cause like everybody already approaches Negroes like they stupid anyway. You had the so-called DNA pioneer scientists who did a whole research study on that, and he concluded that Negroes are dumb. I mean, I didn't say that. Dude won a Nobel Prize. He won a Nobel Prize for that. I think I spoke about him in one of the videos in my Women's History Month. So go check that out. I even featured him in that too. I featured him in one of my Women's History Month videos, right? But everybody everybody deals with black people, period. I hate that word, but black people on that based on that premise that they're just dumb. So what that executive said to the lizard dude, it didn't surprise me. What surprised me was how he got away with that shit without no type of consequence, nothing, nothing, nothing. They was like, oh well, whatever, you know, nothing. I think that what's that chick name? The Congresswoman AOC or whatever, ACO. I don't know. The Congresswoman from Queens, the Latin Latino. Boy, I tell you, she said something about it, but she left it alone. Like she just said something about it, like in passing, over a cup of coffee, and that was it. She left that alone. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really too serious, but they clearly was racist against this dude. I don't think if he was white that they would have even said anything like that. I really don't. As a matter of fact, I think if he was white, they would have been like, "Oh, Houston, we got a problem." You know what I'm saying? I don't think it would have been like, this little redneck from Staten Island, he's stupid. Ain't nobody gonna listen to him. I don't think that would have happened. I don't think that would have happened, right? But I'm saying that to say that it's hard to they made it that way. They did that on purpose. It's hard to sue somebody, and suing is nothing to be ashamed of if you're American, because that's the American way. Like for real. That's the American way, lawsuit, right? Like, really, did you hear about the chick that sued Geico Insurance and got $5 million for it, for catching an STD in the car she had sex with. She didn't have sex with the car. She had sex with a dude that owned the car in that car that was insured by Geico. She caught an STD from the dude and she took them to court. She said they were liable and she got $5 million. She sued them for catching an STD in a car that was insured by Geico. So, yeah, suing people is a very American thing, right? And he wasn't able to sue. He wasn't able to sue for that, because they made it hard for you to be able to sue based on your the color of your skin. And that's why we have so many apartments here in Manhattan that are empty, and have been empty since the pandemic for years now, right? Because nobody is going to rent. Now, if a Mexican came up in there, they would get that apartment. If an Asian came up in there, they would get that apartment. If a Jewish person came up in there, they would get that apartment. And they ain't even got to pretend to be white. They can just be a Jew. Okay? They will get that apartment, right? Let an American Negro go up there. They're not going to get that apartment. They're not going to get that apartment. And these people would rather keep it empty. Would rather keep it empty before they rent it to a Negro. Like for real. Like for real. Oh, they'll also rent it to a black person, so-called black person, but that black person have to be an immigrant. And they have to be an immigrant. And a lot of times they have to be an immigrant fresh off the boat. Like we used to say back in the day. Fresh off the boat. That's the only way. But for an American Negro, no. They're not going to rent to you. And they are at liberty to not have to rent to you. Yeah, it's discrimination and it's illegal, but you're not going to be able to prove that. You're not going to be able to prove that. You're not going to be able to prove that. So that's about that mess, which is really sad because basically ADOS don't get no type of respect. And even doing that Juneteenth holiday, that's really a slap in the face. Because tomorrow, people who got federal and state and city jobs are going to have the day off and are going to get paid. The libraries are going to be closed. Those people are going to be paid. The public schools are closed. Those teachers are going to be paid. No mail delivery tomorrow. They're going to be paid. And the people who need their help the most can't pay the increase in rent, can't buy any gas, can't get no food, are suffering. That's if that's not a fucking slap in the face, I don't know what is. Like, that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy. Cause I'm moving. Now, before the pandemic started, where I was at, it wasn't bad. It was only after the city council and the state assembly and our state attorney and all these other stupid ass people did the no bail thing, letting all the criminals out of Rikers Island, shutting Rikers Island down. Now they want to build fucking prison in all the boroughs except for one. And the one that they want to build in Manhattan is going to be in Chinatown, but the Chinese people are suing. They're actually suing the state because they don't want the prison over there. So I have a feeling that they're going to win because they're very politically active in Chinatown. Like they don't play over there. They are very politically active in Chinatown, and I believe that they're not going to have that jail built here, that they're going to build it over here in Harlem instead. That's what I believe. So I'm getting out, and the only way I was really able to do that was with my immigrant privilege. With my immigrant privilege, yup. Because if I didn't go ahead and throw that weight, I'd be stuck right here. I'd be stuck. And that's just the honest truth. That's why I put on my damn that's why I put in my um application Hispanic descent. Yup. It either asks Hispanic or Latino. That's what I do because like I said, my father and them is from a Latin American country. So yeah, I use that shit. I use it. I use it for everything, you know. And yesterday we were talking about well, we wasn't talking about it, but it was mentioned about black women getting um uterine cancer and hysterectomies a lot, and the womb, the uterus that are being implanted in gay males, black and white, and in white women are these wombs that they're taking out of black women or the mother of humanity, and they're giving her these hysterectomies. And then I don't remember who said it, but she said that her friend was like 30 when she got her hysterectomy. And this has been going on for like a decade. I remember Dr. Jewel Pookrum was talking about this like back in 2008, like 2008, maybe 2003. She was talking about this for like since then. I don't know if you know Dr. Jewel Pookrum, but you should Google search her. She's a medical doctor. She's a medical doctor, and I like her. She's Even though she's a medical doctor, she's very she went to medical school. And I remember the story, how it went. She said that she never really planned on going to medical school. But what happened was when she was graduating from college with her degree, um, the head of the department brought her an application and told her to apply for medical school. Like she was literally invited to go. Like they brought her that application. It was like, yeah, come on, you got to go to medical school. But she's a medical doctor, and she spoke about this. She spoke about I used to have that video up before YouTube took my channel down. It was really important that she was speaking about fibrosis, fibrosis in the uterine fibrosis, and how it was affecting black women, and that black women are the most who either die from it or get hysterectomies. So yeah, it's this is no joke. So Yahoo today had posted, not Yahoo, the New York Times had posted an article this morning, and we was talking about this last night. So the name of the article is "Uterine Cancer is on the Rise, especially among Black women," right? And it's about this woman who was suffering from menopause from almost a decade, and she's 64, a retiree from my city, New York City. And they gave her a hysterectomy at 60 fucking 4 years old. Like, I mean, it's to me it's something with that. I'm going to come back because I really want to get into this because we were talking because they're taking these so-called cancerous uterines out of black women and then they're putting them into other people like white women and gay males, black and white. That's what they're doing. And boy, I think I want to come back and talk about this. But the most thing that I wanted to say is they're saying that there's going to be an increase in deaths of black women by 2040 in terms of this uterine cancer. And they also said that the cases went up in terms of all women who have this. It went up by 30,000 cases. And black women have the higher rate of hysterectomies. And that's what Dr. Jewel Pookrum said in like 2003. She said that in 2003, and we in 2022. Black women have a higher rate of hysterectomies, and that's who's getting. Anytime you hear somebody getting a uterus implanted in them so they can have a baby, trust and believe it's the mother of humanity's womb. That's what it is. Dr. Jewel Pookrum was talking about this since 2003. I want to come back and do this. Black women represented just under 10% of the 2000, sorry. Black women represented just under 10% of the 208,000 uterine cancer cases diagnosed in the United States between 2000 and 2017. Yeah, I remember Dr. Jewel Pookrum talking about this in 2003. So black women only represented 10% of the 208,000 cases, right? But they make up 18% of the 16,000 deaths concerning this disease. And yeah, I want to come back. It says that women ages 40 and older, 31.4% of black women ages 40 and over compared to 15% of white women in the same age group and 9% for Asian women and 12% for Hispanic women. So black women, like 31%, that's a lot. That's a fucking lot. Like, oh boy, I tell you, I don't know. Maybe that should be happening. I don't know. But and it also says that this is women with and without kids, with and without children. So you don't have to have children. I mean, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, maybe this should be happening. I don't know. But it just strikes me the wrong way that they're doing all of these hysterectomies and taking these uteruses from black women that they say it's cancerous, and then they put it in somebody else so that person can have a baby. You know, it reminds me of like the Hella cells. You know, they took some of her cells and like it's cancerous, and they just experimenting on it. And it reminds me of the dude that used to experiment on black women. He's the so-called father of gynecology. J. Marion Sims. If you don't know who that is, I want you to Google that person because I'm gonna come back and do something on this. I'm gonna do something on this. J. Marion. A minute. Sims. He experimented on black women without any anesthesia. Like he just cut them up like they were guinea pigs. And remember, I told y'all before, like we're treated differently in healthcare. Like they say that we have a higher threshold of pain. So they won't give us stuff like painkillers and opium. And that's why a whole lot of people who are hooked to that are a lot of white people are dying from that, you know, because they was giving it to them. They wasn't giving, and they still don't. And these are like stereotypes from like the 1800s when they was talking about Negroes suffered from the slaves suffered from drapetomania. You know, drapetomania is the urge to want to run away from the slave master. You know, and that was literally considered that was that was technically considered an illness. It was a psychological illness that required treatment, right? And like, boy, I tell you, yeah, this kinds of rub me the wrong way, like James Marion Sims, who these people still call the father of gynecology, and everything that uh they know in gynecology, they know because of him experimenting on black women without any anesthesia. So I want to come back and talk about these uteruses that's going into other taken out of black women or the mother of humanity and is claimed to be I probably should do a private stream with that one. And yeah, I think maybe I'll do a private stream with that. It's it's you know it's mm, 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 mm. Yeah, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back and do something on that. So, until then, everyone take care. And I hope you learned something tonight because this Juneteenth thing is just a slap in the face, especially when you can't pay your rent and when they raising rent prices and you can't pay your like ADOS people are the bottom caste and they got a holiday to celebrate your freedom, but everybody else is doing well. Everybody, how many of you got jobs that you're off tomorrow, you're still going to get paid? Or do you have to go to work tomorrow? Or do you even have a job? Oh boy, I tell you. All right, I'm just gonna leave it at that, and I'm gonna come back because I want to talk about these uteruses being implanted into other people. The American father of gynecology, and all of these black women having these 31% of them having uterine cancer and 18% of them dying from it. That's that's more than half. That's more than half, and being 31% is all almost fucking half. Like y'all have to like, boy, I tell you. I wonder if any of these women were listening to what's her name? Um what's her name? So called Queen of Fama. who was telling women and giving them these concoctions, talking about your menses is a curse and is not normal, and you should take this to get rid of it. I wonder if these women, because this she's from New York City and she's almost about the age of this Queen of Farmer woman, this one that this article is talking about, Linda Collins. I wonder if she was a part of that cult, because there's this cult with this lady. She calls herself Queen of Farmer. She's Ifama, I think. What's her name? I don't know. Damn, what's her name? No, I don't think it's Queenie Farmer. It's something. I don't know. It's this crazy fucking old ass lady. She old and listen, boy, I tell you, she look like she about to crack up. Anyway, I mean, and got to put on a ton of makeup to hide it. But you know what? I can't remember this chick name. I can't remember, but she had it out for one of my favorite psychics. I can't remember this damn chick name. I'm just tired. But this boy, this bitch was going around telling women on social media, on Facebook. She got a YouTube channel, Facebook, and telling them that their menses is not natural. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Your menses is not natural, bitch. Oh my god! And she was literally giving these. She was giving them concoctions to stop their menses. Boy, I tell you. And I wonder if most of these women ran into her. She would go on retreats. She would have retreats, a whole bunch of women, they be twerking and shit. And, it's just, ugh, ugh, ugh. Well, I tell you. Mm, 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 mm. I'm wondering. I'm curious if she had anything to do with all of these damn hair vasectomies, because she's been doing this for a while. I mean, let me see. I've heard about her since like maybe 2000, same time, 2004, 2005. Yeah, she used to be Phil Valentino's wife. I think they know him, the white dude. Dr. What's his name? They call him Dr. Phil Valentine. I don't know. I call him Valentino. That used to be his wife. He's the dude that wrote that stupid ass book, The Wounded Womb. Boy, I tell you. The Wounded Womb. Yeah, well, maybe he had a point there, because she came out telling these lost ass femalians that their menses wasn't normal. Like, what the fuck? Your menses is not normal, really? So, and then she was like, yeah, I stopped mine, and you should. And she was already old when she said this, so I'm wondering if she was on her motherfucking menopause or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Talking about she stopped her menses. Boy, I tell you, nah, you will never find me like that. Look, I'm 53 and I still get my menses. Okay, thank you, goddess. Okay, yes, I am still fertile. Okay, boy, I tell you, and there ain't a damn thing wrong with me. I'm in good health. I ain't got no gray hair. I ain't got no wrinkles. I ain't got no diabetes. I ain't got no cancer. I ain't got no high blood pressure. I ain't got no gastrointestinal problems. I ain't got no uterine problems. None of that. Okay. I tell you. But that's what that made. It reminded me of James Marion, the father of gynecology, and this chick. So, boy, I tell you. But I'm gonna come back and talk about this, because these hysterectomies, these wombs, these wombs are going into other people. These wombs that they taking out of black women, claiming that it's cancerous and no good. You don't need that shit no more, and snatching that shit out. putting it in a gay black male and a gay white male and a white woman who can't have no babies. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was hoping that my son was gonna be. I thought that's what he was gonna do. My oldest one become what they call it, a bioengineer, because I told him he could make a lot of money because white people can't have no babies, and I was like, you could just help them have babies, with your medical magic and shit, But he ended up doing something else, but I ain't mad at him. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he's good. He's good right now. He got a government job, so he good. Okay, he got security. He got a government job. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, boy, I tell you. So let me go. I done said enough, and I don't know when I'm gonna come back, but I just want to look up a few more things, and I'm gonna come back because I want to talk about this and how these wombs are going into other people while they telling you that your shit ain't no good no more. Boy, I tell you. All right, let me get out of here. Everybody have a good night. It's no work tomorrow, no mail or nothing. So yeah, everyone have a good night. Stay safe. Later.